India's secret censorship paradox. Why blocking anti-gambling software reveals a $60 billion regulatory blind spot. That single number resets the tech playbook. The key question is not what happened, but what changes next for operators and users. We will map trigger, incentive shift, and downstream impact before the close. 3 years ago, they secretly blocked Gamban, software designed to help gambling addicts, while simultaneously allowing betting platforms to explode into an $8.6 billion industry. No explanation. No warning. Just gone. Let's be clear about what this actually reveals. India's Ministry of Electronics and IT used Section 69A of the IT Act to ban the one tool that was actually protecting vulnerable users from the platforms they claim to regulate. This isn't incompetence masquerading as policy. This is regulatory capture wearing a transparency mask. The numbers tell the real story. Between 2023 and 2026, India issued blocking orders for over 14,000 URLs, more than any other democracy on earth. But here's the part that should concern institutional investors. There's zero public criteria, zero appeal process, and zero explanation for any of it. Companies like Gamban only discovered they were blocked when Indian users reported the app stopped working. No notice. No chance to comply. Just silence. Meanwhile, offshore gambling platforms operated through 450 mirror domains, rotating URLs faster than regulators could issue blocking orders. The sophisticated bad actors thrived. The compliance-focused harm reduction tool got eliminated. It's regulatory arbitrage at scale, and it exposes something much larger. India's content regulation framework actively punishes companies trying to do the right thing while rewarding those willing to operate in the shadows. Here's what this means for the broader digital economy. India's online gambling market didn't grow despite regulation, it grew because of regulatory dysfunction. When your blocking mechanism is completely opaque, when you can ban addiction prevention software without explaining why, you've created an environment where bad actors outcompete good actors. Dream11, MPL, and dozens of offshore betting sites operated openly with celebrity endorsements and IPL sponsorships. The addiction blocking app got silenced. For investors evaluating India's digital landscape, this is a governance discount you need to price in. Not because Indian companies are untrustworthy, but because the regulatory environment itself is fundamentally unstable. Current framework suggests MIT recognizes the problem, they are consulting on grievance redressal mechanisms. But that won't happen until after the 2027 state elections conclude in May. Until then, every Indian digital platform carries hidden regulatory tail risk that traditional compliance audits won't catch. The cross-domain ripple is even more concerning. Gamban is technically a digital health intervention. Its blocking without health ministry consultation reveals how dysfunctional India's regulatory silos have become. Mental health apps, telemedicine platforms, addiction treatment tools, anything touching sensitive topics faces the same invisible risk. You could be operating perfectly within the law one day and silently banned the next. Here's what sophisticated investors should watch. First, the Digital India Bill 2027 language on Section 69A reform. If it includes mandatory reason-giving and appeal mechanisms, India is acknowledging the problem. If it maintains current opacity while adding new blocking powers, regulatory risk accelerates dramatically. Second, gambling platform licensing clarity by Q4 2026. Whether India creates pathways for regulated, harm reduction integrated betting, or simply bans everything determines whether the $8.6 billion gaming market is investable or an impending write-off. Third, India's Internet Freedom Rankings. A drop below 45th place by 2027 triggers ESG screens at major institutions, affecting $15 to $20 billion in passive India tech exposure. The real insight here is structural. When a government blocks addiction prevention tools while allowing addictive platforms to flourish, it signals regulatory capture, technical incompetence, or both. And when it does this in complete secrecy, with zero accountability, it tells you something critical: this isn't a rule-based system. It's a discretionary system, where the rules change without notice and compliance doesn't protect you. That changes how you evaluate every Indian digital company. You can't just assess whether they comply with current rules. You have to assess whether the rules themselves are stable, coherent, and enforced in ways that reward rather than punish good faith compliance. Until India fixes its Section 69A black box, every platform operating there carries hidden regulatory tail risk that will eventually demand a valuation discount. This is worth paying attention to. India's government blocked anti-gambling software, the one tool actually protecting addiction victims, while betting platforms made $8.6 billion in the same 3-year period. Zero explanation. Zero appeal process. Just silenced. This isn't a censorship mistake. It's regulatory capture exposing a $60 billion blind spot where opaque blocking orders punish compliance-focused companies while shadowy bad actors thrive through 450 rotating mirror domains. For institutional investors, this reveals a critical insight. Every Indian digital platform carries hidden regulatory tail risk because the rules change without notice, and you get no warning before the ban. Focus on 3 layers: immediate trigger, structural incentive shift, and downstream effects on operators, users, and regulators.